Howdy, welcome back to Fang, Faraway Not Giving. It's that time of the month. March Madness just got out. The brackets just got dropped. It is an exciting time. So we're gonna go ahead and pick a bracket. Now we're gonna pick two brackets. First of all, it's gonna be the first one that we're gonna just show up is gonna be the bracket that we did with an Excel spreadsheet. Now, that might not be a good one because it's based on win percentages and the wins and losses between conference and non-conference. So, it might not be good because there's not really that much upsets. So, this is the one right here. It's gonna show right here. And then we're gonna fill out our bracket, well, my bracket, which is one that I think is gonna be good. Now, I've had past that I've been close to winning, not 100% in the brackets, but close to winning. So hopefully it's the same this year, except last year was my worst bracket of all time, which is not good, but we are going to start. Okay, so first we have number one Duke versus CN. Now I'm gonna pick Duke on this one. Not gonna lie, I wish it was an upset, but I just can't see Siena winning against Duke. I don't necessarily think Duke's gonna beat the end or necessarily end. Let's see. Now we have number 8 Ohio State versus number 9 TCU. I'm gonna pick Ohio State on this one. It should be a close matchup since it's 8 and 9, and I know more of the upsets come between the 6 and 11, so could be a possible upset, but again, I don't think so. So I'm gonna have to Ohio State on that. After that, we have number 5 St. John's against number 12 Northern Iowa. I wish Northern Iowa won. I want them to win because I want that to be since they just won against UConn to win their tournament bracket, conference bracket. I think that's gonna be, and they come real good. So I think I'm gonna have to pick St. John's and against Northern Iowa. Sorry, Northern Iowa, but I think that can be it. Next, we have number 4 Kansas against number 13 California Baptist, or at least I believe that's it. I wanna pick Baptist again because I know that there's some upsets, and I have to pick some upsets at some. But I have to pick Kansas, although I think Kansas is not gonna make it that far. So let's pick Kansas on this one. Now we have number 6 Louisville against number 11 South Florida. So now we have another tough one because it's between the seeds that I said that might get upset. So usually these are the ones that get upset the most, between the 6th and the 11th. You know what? In this one, I think I'm gonna hit the very first upset that we have, and it's gonna be South Florida. I won't say Louisville there, but they're gonna lose. I think that's the first big upset that we have. Next, we have number 3 Michigan State and number 14 North Dakota State. Now, North Dakota is getting some push with their football, but it's not football, it's basketball. So, this one, in the first projected, before this one, which I believe it was yesterday, I had Michigan going to the second round. Winning the first, going to the round of 32. But against North Dakota State, it's gonna be a tough. I think this could be an upset again, It's hard not picking upsets sometimes, but I have to pick Michigan State. I have to. Again, it could be an upset. The North Dakota State could come and win it. Very likely, but I don't think so. After we have number 7th, UCLA versus 10th UCF. I think I don't. I've seen UCLA play, especially against my dogs. I mean against my Sags. They didn't look that good. And all year, everyone said that they looked good. They got ranked at some point. I didn't think they deserve the rank. UCF has done it before, has done it in the past, so I'm gonna pick UCF. Now we have number 2, UConn against number 15, Furman. Now, if Dan Hurley doesn't get ejected, it could be a good win there for UConn. I don't see Furman winning unless Dan Hurley gets ejected right at the start. Now we have number 1, Florida versus number 16. Who do we have here? Is whoever wins, I believe it's PV and Leahy, something like that. Oh, we have them. They're gonna have to play before they get in. Unfortunately, I think Florida has it. They spiked at the right time, so I think I have to pick Florida now. I don't really see an upset there. Number 8, Clemson against number 9, Iowa. Now, if you know me, I always hit big on Iowa for basketball. Either Iowa State, or somewhere in Iowa. I think they're good at basketball at some point. But here against Clemson is not that good at basketball. They should stick at football, but let's pick Clemson just for the gigs. Well, number 5, Vanderbilt versus 12, McNeese. Now, first I thought McNeese was in the Big East. I think at some point they were in the Big East. Now they're not. But now they're playing Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt is one of the schools that I didn't think should get ranked. Was a little iffy about them getting in. They got in. They didn't seem that. They didn't look that good. So, and I know I said usually between number 6 and number 11, that's when the upsets happen. But I'm picking number 12 McNeese to upset number 5 Vanderbilt. Now we have number 5 Nebraska, number 13 Troy. It's gonna be a real simple. I think Troy is gonna play like nothing to this. Nebraska has a little backside of being in the Big Ten. I think that boosts Nebraska a lot. I'm gonna pick another upset. Troy wins it. It's gonna be a McNeese Troy run of 32. I'm probably gonna have one of those wrong, but it's all about the madness, you know. Now we go to number 6 North Carolina versus number 11 VCU. Here, it could be another upset, but I don't think so. I think North Carolina is too good to go against one of these teams. They're not that good to win it all. I think they just get to round 32. I think they don't get past that. Now we have number 3 Illinois versus number 14 Penn. Now I believe Penn is the one the Ivy League. Really see Penn winning big. I mean they're in the Ivy League, so they don't play that many people. At least they don't play good people. So I think Penn should just stick to academics, like everyone in the Ivy League. Sorry. Now we have number 7th St. Mary's against number 10th Texas A&M. Now, as you can see, I'm a big Zags fan. I don't usually like rooting for St. Mary's, but St. Mary's is always good at the end of the year. They always get ranked end of the year. They always go into the tournament. They're big in WCC going forward. They're the main dogs in the WCC. So they're good. I have to admit it, they're good. So I think they're gonna win. We have number 2 Houston against number 15 Idaho. Now, if you know about basketball, Houston won against Gonzaga last year in the tournament, and they didn't seem that good this year until towards the end. So I think Houston has it. I don't think Idaho is gonna make it far. Now we go to the West when we have number 1 Arizona versus 16 Long Island. I'm surprised Long Island got in. I mean, they're a small school, so I'm just gonna, and Arizona is too big, so I'm gonna pick Arizona. Number 8 Villanova versus 9th Utah State. Now this one I want to pick Villanova because my uncle went to Villanova. I really don't want to pick Villanova against Utah State. I think Utah State is gonna win it, but just for the shits and gigs, let's put Villanova. Number 5 Wisconsin versus 12 High Point. That is another matchup that I didn't want to happen because, as you'll see in my sheets, I have for some reason High Point being really good. Now that really surprised me when I was doing this. I'm a big believer in that the Wisconsin Badgers can make a good push in the tournament. But since I've been looking at High Point, really good, and they have 30 wins, it's gonna be. You can call this an upset if you want. I don't really think so. Let's put High Point winning against Wisconsin. Sorry, Badgers, but High Point has it. At least a little bit. They're not gonna win it all. They're not gonna make it far, but they just have to win the game. Now we have Arkansas versus Hawaii. I don't think Hawaii should have won their conference. It was a surprise to me, and I saw that Arkansas game, the final one of their conference. I think Arkansas has a good shot at winning deep. So I'm gonna pick Arkansas. Now we have number 6 BYU versus either 11th. I believe should be Texas, some Texas school, and CSU. So I believe North Carolina State. Should be could be wrong on that one, but either way, BYU and again it could be another upset. I don't think so. I think BYU is good enough to win in the round of 64, but I'm just gonna pick them. Now we have my Gonzaga. Now we have my number 3 Gonzaga Bulldogs versus number 14th Kansas State. Now that's gonna be real easy. We have Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs going strong. They're gonna win it, and it might be just that I'm a fan of Gonzaga. It could be that they're actually good, but I'm gonna pick them. Now we have number 7th Miami against number 10th Missouri. Here I'm gonna pick an upset. I don't think the Hurricanes are that good to win it. They're good to make it. I just say this is another upset. And now we have number 2 Purdue versus the 15 Queens. Now, when I first saw the bracket, I immediately went, "This is gonna be a Gonzaga versus Purdue matchup," so I stick to it. I don't think Queens can win it. So now we have number 1 Michigan versus number 16th either UMBC or Howard, I believe. So here Wolverines have looked good. Only lost 2 games. I believe those were false, but they beat Gonzaga, so they might be good. Let's pick them up. Now we have number 8 Georgia versus 9th St. Louis. Now this is another one like High Point where I didn't see St. Louis making anything big, but they finished good. They finished the season good, so I'm gonna pick them. Sorry, Georgia, but there's only room for one Bulldog. Now we have Texas Tech versus Akron. This is another one where I should probably pick an upset, but let's go ahead and pick the Texas Tech. Now we have number 4 Alabama versus number 13 Hofstra. Now Alabama, I always think it's overrated, either in football or basketball, just because I know they're good, but they they seem to win one, lose one. So right now, I'm gonna pick another upset. Hofstra, you're in. Now we have number 6 Tennessee versus 11th Miami, Ohio, or SMU. Now I know Miami, Ohio finished undefeated the regular season, and they just lost in the conference tournament. And I saw them in as a better team than everyone thought. So I'm gonna pick to win that because they were undefeated for a reason. Even though it wasn't that big of teams, I still want to pick them. Now we have number 3 Virginia versus 14th Wright State. I want to pick Wright State just because I think it's gonna be an upset, but I have to pick Virginia. They finished strong. We have number 7th Kentucky versus 10th Santa Clara. At the beginning of the WCC tournament, I saw that Santa Clara was in it for the win. It was win or go home. Ever since then, ever since they played Gonzaga, I saw them as no fight. As that was the only possibility. They play good. They're a tournament team. And Kentucky, I feel like they're always overrated. They're like the Kansas team or an Alabama team. They're good enough to win games. Good conference. Not good enough to make it far. Now we have Iowa State and Tennessee State. Now again, we come another Iowa team. I'm gonna pick Iowa State. I have them going to the Final Four last year. I might be wrong at that one, but I'm gonna pick Iowa State. I have a little fan. I'm a little fan of Iowa State. Don't blame me. Then we have number 1 Duke versus 8th Ohio State. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Duke again. Duke is really strong and it's not football, so Ohio State won't win. Number 5 St. John's against 4 Kansas. Again, I always think Kansas is overrated. They start really high, they end really low. And St. John's is a really good team, so let's pick St. John's. Now we have number 11 South Florida versus 3 Michigan State. Now, if they were at the bracket that I said yesterday, I would have put Michigan State to win. But I think South Florida is gonna do another big upset and win against Michigan State. Again, this I might be wrong, but again, we have to pick some upsets here. Now we have number 10th UCF versus 2 UConn. UConn is really strong. They have Dan Hurley. Again, if he doesn't get ejected in the first half, I think they're just too good. Now we have number 1 Florida versus number 8 Clemson. Again, it's an easy one. Florida is really strong. Clemson's not gonna do much. Let's just pick Florida to move on. Now we have McNeese and Troy, 2 of my upset winners. Here, I really see McNeese winning more again. I thought they were in the Big East for a reason. I really thought they were there, so I'm just gonna keep moving on. North Carolina versus Illinois. Now, Illinois is that type of Iowa team that I think could do it. Hasn't done it in the past, but has a chance. Now, St. Mary's against Houston. I truly don't want to pick St. Mary's. I think Houston's good enough to advance there. It's gonna be a good matchup. It's gonna be a good game. But let's pick Houston there. Now we have Arizona versus Villanova. I want to pick Villanova because of my uncle, but I just have to pick the better team. Now we have High Point versus Arkansas. I want High Point to win. I want them to go far. But Arkansas is better than them. It's just as easy as that. BYU Gonzaga. Now, I've gotta keep it true. This one and Missouri Purdue, they were already picked. They were already thought in my head before I even started recording. I'm just gonna pick Gonzaga versus Purdue. Right there and simple. It's gonna be a rematch of last year's. It's gonna be a preview of next year opening day. It's gonna be a good one. I'm very excited for that one. Hopefully my Sox don't disappoint. They have a good team right now with Joe Fogel, Ike. Probably gonna lose that one, but who knows? Now we have Michigan versus St. Louis. Oh, I wanna pick St. Louis. I want them to go big, but Michigan's just too much of a team, too big of a team to lose against St. Louis. Again, I want them to go big, but have to pick what I have to pick. Now we have Texas Tech versus Hofstra. I don't know much about Hofstra at this point. I don't think they're gonna win against Texas Tech. I have to pick them. There's no other team to pick there, so I have to go with one. Now, I think this would be Miami, Ohio. It's not gonna be SMU, and it's gonna be Miami, Ohio versus Virginia. I think Miami, Ohio has enough to win that one. Again, they were undefeated against not that good teams, but they were undefeated for a reason. We have to respect that one. Now we have Santa Clara, Iowa State. This is very easy. One, Santa Clara is like the first time they've been in the tournament, and Iowa State is always good, not good enough, and I have a special place in my heart for Iowa State. I don't know why, but that's what I'm gonna pick. Now we go to Sweet 16, Duke versus St. John's. Now this is gonna be one of the upsets. I think St. John's big, and they're gonna have a rematch against UConn. The easiest that I think South Florida makes two big upsets. They can't make a third against UConn, and St. John's is too good. And even though it's a tough path against a Kansas team and a Duke team, I think they have enough. I don't see Duke as strong as everyone else. Now we have Florida. I want the Magnus train to continue, but I have to stop at the swamp. Now we have Illinois against Houston. This is a tough one. Both are really similar teams, similar resumes, similar everything. You could pick either or. So let's just pick Houston. Why not? Make it again to the Final Four. Has to be Houston. Now we have Arizona, Arkansas. I wanna pick Arkansas, but Arizona has proven to be good. They've been consistent all year throughout. I think they stay at top. Gonzaga, Purdue. No, if it was last year and I picked Purdue. I knew Gonzaga was enough to win it all. I knew Gonzaga was gonna stop at some point. This one, I truly feel like it's one of our years. So let's move on. Probably gonna regret that, but you know what? Let's keep it on. Now we have Michigan versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a big team. It's a bigger team. They're just too strong. I don't think Texas Tech is gonna have a chance. I think one of the other teams will have to beat Michigan, and they can. Now we have Miami, Ohio versus Iowa State. Again, I think it's gonna be Miami, Ohio. I don't think SMU is gonna win that one or any other team. So it's gonna be Miami, Ohio versus Iowa State. Even though I've been glazing Miami, Ohio this whole tournament and this whole year, I think there's stops with the Cyclones. I think Iowa State's gonna win. Now they're gonna beat Michigan. Let's go under. No. I like Iowa State too much, but I just have to pick the better team. Florida, Houston. Let's pick an upset there. Houston can win against the Gators. I think last year was their year. This year's not. St. John's, UConn. I think it's gonna be a repeat. St. John's has to beat UConn. I mean, already has the formula. Already knows how to beat Dan Hurley. Let's just give it another win. Arizona, Gonzaga. Even though Gonzaga is my team, and I think this our year. I have to be realistic, and Arizona is gonna win. Don't come after me, Zags fans. I want them to win, but I just have to look at the facts. Now we have number 5 St. John's against number 2 Houston. This is a big game. Houston was here last year. They made it big. They went almost all the way. St. John's on the backside. They have an incredible coaching staff, but I think they're gonna be too much for Houston to handle. St. John's in one of their years, probably the only year they're gonna make it. So we're just gonna pick them. Now we have Arizona, Michigan. I wish this was the final game. They're two big powerhouses, but I'm gonna pick Michigan. They just seem too good. But again, this should be the game of the tournament. If this is not the final four and the game of the tournament, I'm gonna be surprised. They're two of the highest seeds. They're two of the best teams there are. I think they're gonna win. But I think that's gonna be too much for the players to handle. They're not gonna have enough recovery. And St. John's is gonna win it all. Just because of that physical battle, that intense battle against Arizona. It's gonna be too much on the players. St. John's has an easier path. It's just that I think their only tough opponent is gonna be Duke or UConn. So I think St. John's wins it. And then for the tiebreaker, let's just go with normal number. Let's say 74 against 80, which that's, if my math's right, that's what, 164? No, that's wrong. That's 151 for the final score. So there you have it. That's my pick. I don't like it, but St. John's, you're this year's winner. Thanks for watching. We're gonna go through the weeks, see if we have it wrong, right, or if we have it wrong. This being one of the toughest tournament, it's one of the toughest brackets that I have to feel that I remember. I was surprised that St. John's and Michigan came to the end. Surprised of some of the teams, but hey, this is how they made the brackets. This is how I have to feel them. See you next time.
Led by a coach we all revere, a legendary man among his peers. His name is Rick Pitino. Soon may the red storm come to rock the rim and make a run. One day when the winning is done,